about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, Richard Johnson, a longtime resident of Covington, along with Brother Baker, and civil rights icon and legend and pioneer, entrepreneur. And you also served in the armed forces. Yes.
That's correct.
So we're delighted to have you. Delighted to have you as a part of our experience this evening. We had you on last year as we talked about the history of Covington and the Conyers and some of the activism that you were a part of. And we appreciated so much of the history you dropped on us. We wanted to kind of record it again. In fact, even wanted to get kind of a sense of some of the names you remember of people you recall and some of the things that you did and achieved. Our hope is to again kind of save and record the history of our community as redevelopment happens so rapidly around the city. So much of our history is lost, and so much is no longer remembered or even celebrated. If we don't record it and keep it, who will?
That's right.
So you're part of a very important part of the historical repository, so to speak. You're a living library of information. So we just want to thank you for being on another episode of The Struggle is Real.
And the struggle will continue.
Absolutely. I'm just also grateful to have my co-host who's also a historical icon as well. I mean, first African-American city councilman and one who was part of a historic church. So without me talking all the time, this whole thing, we'd like to have you to talk to us, to greet us today and talk to us about your experience as a part of the movement years ago in Covington. I remember you saying that there were times that you had to really kind of deal with the law enforcement as well, and that you had to stand up for yourself on several occasions.
Yes, the struggle started a long time ago, long before then. I'm one of the originals here in Newton County. And I can remember when the city and the county was less than 10,000 people.
Wow.
When the days that started to come at 12 noon, all the stores was closed.
Oh.
And sharecroppers and most of us had transportation with mule and wagon. Leave out early Saturday morning and get back about dark to pick up a little necessities in the city of Covington. But much that they had to pick up, because most of them had farms and they raised the chickens and the cows and the hogs and the vegetables. So they already had that. They mostly probably went to town to pick up some sugar and cheese or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the housewives or mothers whatsoever doing then, on the wagon going to town, they was gathering a little money on the way, where they had picked up clothes white families through Porterdale and Covington and washed and ironed and fold up the clothes and put them in a basket and was delivering to pick up the nickel and dime that they was going to receive for doing that. So they would have money to buy the supplies. At the time, there were not that many grocery stores. I think it was a Colonia and probably a Big Apple, and later there was a Haymo's grocery store next to a cafe which was owned by Mr. Broaden. And Mr. Broaden run the cafe, and Mr. Jefferson had one next to it. And there was a pool room for blacks next to that. And this is where the blacks hung out on a few hours Saturday when they was in Covington.
Yeah, don't forget Sam's Barbershop on that corner too.
Sam's Barbershop is there, still there. Sam's on the corner.
Wow.
And where Haymo's grocery ham is there now, which Mr. Arthur Ham was the principal of school over at Livingston Chapel. He opened up a restaurant there, and it's still there. That's I think it's called Hometown.
Uptown.
Uptown. That is a historic restaurant that's been there for years.
Yeah. I don't remember. They said it used to be a movie theater right there above Sam's restaurant too, was it? Where blacks attend.
Was the what?
A movie theater.
That was a movie theater right above Sam's.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I heard a lot of people talking about it.
No, that was a movie theater right above Sam's there. And I used to like to go there to see the cartoons. Gabby Hayes, The Long Range, and Wide Earth, and the gunfight at the OK Corral.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the movie that we had there for a little while. And
So
finally they closed that, and they had one over where, on the corner where Smilers used to be. It's Insurance, Smith's, right on the corner. They had a movie theater about midway to that square, but the black had to go in the back door.
That's right.
And
They had to go to the back door on the back of it.
at the theater, they had to go in the back door and sit on the ground floor, and White was upstairs, which was constantly,
throwing stuff
down and irritating the blacks, which is a normal thing at this time. Of course, we had a King, Piper's Hardware, and we had two hardwares there at that time. There was Piper's Hardware and
King
Hardware.
Yeah.
King, yes. Piper's and King. That was back in the days before the movement taking place.
Yeah, you failed to mention too also out in the corner with Braun's Cafe and Sim's Barbershop and is Braun and what's the other guy had the cafe down there? But
Jefferson.
yeah, Braun and Jefferson Cafe down there.
Right.
That was just basically a black corner where a lot of what most of black business was uptown.
That was the black corner.
Huh.
Had that,
Broughton and Jefferson was the black corner.
Yes.
yeah. That's where the black had their business, was right there on that corner. Upstairs, there above the restaurant upstairs to go up. Mr. Horns used to be the county agent. He
Yeah.
had an office upstairs.
And they sell was the insurance office up there too as well.
It was Atlanta Life was upstairs.
That's right.
Wow.
Uh,
Just so
So it was basically that was our corner in Harristown, and was all black, and Texas Alley, West Street, all of that was black, and it was owned by black.
mhm.
This time. The Carters lived out there, and Clemens, Jefferson lived off of West Street. The Sarah Francis Hardeman there, and all of the Hardemans right in that area.
Mhm.
And Mr. Broughton, Mr. Jefferson had a little cafe out there with a boarding house in it upstairs. This was Jefferson Inn. Mr. Clemens had a little restaurant there where he run it right there in Harristown for a while. And beautician, what was the name? Baker?
Miss
Beautician.
Broad, yeah, Miss Broad Beauty
No,
Parlor.
Henry Goss was wife.
Oh, that was what was it? Bertha's Beauty Parlor.
Yeah. She
Bertha's
moved
Beauty Parlor.
uptown. Got a
Yes.
spot. She got a spot uptown there, and that's still kind of a historical spot. But that place there was a doctor's office. Dr. Nesby had an office there, and it was back door entrance for black, and back door waiting room for black. They didn't. Black had to wait in another room. They couldn't go in the room with the white.
Mm.
That was before the movement.
What was it? What began to stir in you to make you begin to resist or resent the way?
I began to resist right after I went in the military.
Mhm.
I was my first resistance was Parker's place there. I think it was might have been a Big Apple grocery store there on the corner where he just passed away. Had the 10 and $15 store right there on the corner.
You know what he's talking about, Eddie?
Yeah,
Mr.
it's
Callahan.
up on the corner where the ice cream shop and some of the restaurants
Right.
was grocery stores on that corner.
And who was the
Yes,
person?
well, he was right across. He was on the other side of the street from the ice cream shop.
Mm-hmm.
What was the
He
person's
just
name again?
That was one of the first places that we really set in and picket and made started progress. But before then, I started the park. They had Big Apple, Colonia. forget which one of the grocery stores, the Piggy Wiggy. They had
Oh,
that store there also. And a white person wanted to park there, and I beat him to the parking space.
oh,
And this was a no-no for my mama and Miss Tina Kerr. And we had a few words there, even though I got the parking space. And that scared them to death because that white man gonna kill that boy. Well, you know,
oh,
you
the
don't have to
Parkins.
do it to get this parking space, yeah. And we went from there, movement, had just went in service and had taken basic training and come home before I went to Germany. And had to run in with the deputy sheriff,
Mm-hmm.
the junior Odom. And we kind of cleared that up. I stood my ground there, but even though I did go to jail.
That was over something like where you were
That was
sitting.
in 1955.
But what was the issue? Weren't you like warning him not to approach your sister or
Well,
something like?
issue was there. Issue was there. I was parked in the parking lot with my glasses up on my car, my back turned, and no less we had been out celebrating my home before I left to go to Germany.
Right.
And we had been out to Miller Bar to drink some moonshine. Had those 32 hour here that wouldn't even shoot was tore up with my sister's laying on the seat, and I had taken it off the seat and put it in my pocket because I had some old guys got in the car. And we had a town pimp, won't call his name, but he was one of us that went out to celebrate it. Was when we got back in park, he went up and told Junior Odom that I was down there in the car drinking and I had a gun in my pocket.
Lord.
So
Always one of us.
I knew anything. The deputy sheriff, was knocking on the window of my car, and I turned around to the roll out your glass, open the door, and let me get in. Let me drive for you. I got smart with him. I said, "Who's you to drive for me? I can drive my own car." And I seen it was the sheriff. I said, "Okay," I opened the door. Then I went off on him. He had a bad reputation of beating up on every black that he arrests. He'd go
Oh,
upside the head or something. And this come out on me. I said, "I'll tell you what, if you got a bad reputation beating up on black, but let me tell you, the day that you raise your hand and hit this black man, I'm going to kill you." And that's the words I told her. Then you raise your hand and hit this man, I'm going to kill you. Slide over, let me drive for you. So I slid over, cab me on up, and John Berry unlocked the door and locked me up for a minute. My brother come up and got me out. And I left there and went on to Germany. Never heard nothing else from that.
mm-hmm. Wow.
But Broad, Jefferson, and Clemens, and all of them owned mostly Harristown, the Carters, and Sand Hill, the Lackeys, and the Maddocks, all was over the Hendricks. All of them lived over on the Sand Hill area, and all that property was owned by them. Somehow we let that slip away. The Spring Hill area, all the area out here in Spring Hill where I live now.
Spring Hill was that was historic.
Huh?
Spring Hill area was historic.
Spring Hill, Stewart Road, Historia, the whole area, and mostly Lewiston Chapel is historian. All of that property, most was owned by black at one time.
That was Johnson and Brown that owned most all that land out there, wasn't it?
Johnson, Brown, Hendricks, all of that was owned by blacks at that time.
Yeah, Brown had a big spot out there. I mean, a large area.
Well, Tom Brown and Buck Brown property joined back to Thumwell Usher. They owned property there and come back into Spring Hill area. And went up to Mr. Sam Henderson and Miss Florida Brown. Them owned all that property. And Stewart Road and back in there was all Johnson.
And the back on up there, the Hollandworths had a lot of land over there too, then.
Hollandworth, went all the way back over to Hollandworth. All that was owned by black, the Blackshears.
But you know,
the Ushers, all of that was owned by black.
Well, you know, during your time, there was a lot of industrial black men, and they was doing a lot more things than the blacks are doing today. You know, there's a lot of black businesses that kept some of our communities going, little small stores, little small cafes in the community. My understanding that some of the downtown area, some black families own that and sold out to the whites. But you know, during I guess the late 40s and early 50s, on into the 50s, blacks owned quite a bit of land around the Covington. Am I right?
Well, you're right, but I was just thinking 100 years ago, black owned a whole lot of stuff. During the Depression and World War I, one thing or another, said that somehow we lost it all.
Well,
blacks owned their own farms, their own mules, and raised their own vegetables, and they could afford to raise big families because they raised their own food. The families worked the farm.
Yeah.
So that's how they got along with the big families. 9, 10, 13, and 14 children was nothing for the families back in the day.
14?
And they didn't go hungry because, and when it's time to eat, everybody eat at the same time.
Yeah.
Pass it around. You had a lot of historical locations, a lot of events. What was I guess one event that you think sparked the movement in Covington that really got it off the ground or kind of
well, the Hams owned a lot of property over in the Oxford area. Hillman back over where Blackhill live, the Knowledge and the Williams owned that property back in there once upon a time. It was all black owned.
Well,
now 162 was the prices.
Yeah, he was asking you what he was asking you what started the flame of blowing of burning to start a lot of stuff rise around Covington. I believe was when they move all their cousins and it's gonna change the name and everything. I think it started doing Forest Sawyer. You'd probably been a little active before then, but Forest Sawyer want to start a lot of the stuff. Am I right?
Well, the movement that really brought on the civil rights movement and to integrate and put black in a key position all started from the walkout at R.L. Cousins.
Right.
Student body walked out because of their school condition. They
Oh,
had no air conditioning whatsoever, no screens on the windows.
okay,
Flies and mosquitoes would come in and disturb them, and they got fed up with that, and that's what caused the walkout.
okay,
Forrest was the president of the student body at that time,
mm,
and they had decided to walk out and protest for better conditions that already occurred in school, and
okay,
it moved into a civil rights movement.
That might have encouraged uprisings. Book of Exodus.
okay.
It moved into a civil rights movement from there.
All right.
They started marching and marched over to Whitlow Richardson's office, and the sheriff department had taken it up. In the city, but the sheriff department had taken it up, and that's why all the movement placed emphasis on Junior Oldham downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's what kicked that off, and it moved to integrating the stores in Covington,
Mm-hmm.
and putting black in the banks and key positions. That's what the movement started from.
okay.
And it was successful. Callahan's 5 and 10 cent store on the corner was a key spot for us to set up and pick it every day.
Because it was strategically located.
To get the other merchants and coveters to apply and put black into their stores. We had told them that Callahan's store was an example. We were making an example out of him. And when he applied and put black in his stores and black on the front cash register, one thing and another, then we would leave them alone. But we were coming to corns and whites and dykes and the rest of them with the next movement if they didn't get in line. So they hurry up and start putting black in the stores with the cash register and in the bank.
So you use your economic. So you use your economic capacity and your organization skill. You're strategic. You were unified. Did you find that they would try to divide and conquer you all, to try to pick off some against you and turn others against you?
Well, at this time, our movement was so strong, and they seen what we had did with Callahan. And one thing, I think they were kind of glad to keep the pressure off of them at the time. At least they acted that way. At least they acted that way, and which was good. And we worked on the sheriff department and the police department at the same time to put black polices on.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we got the first black on the police department.
I see.
When we got the first black deputy sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Turner was appointed as the administrator for Mayor Dobbs at the city of Covington. He was appointed at this time due to the fact we was running Mayor Dobbs crazy. He had to have some help. So that was the first one that was appointed.
Okay. They appoint somebody over y'all that look like y'all, so he can kind of keep y'all in.
No, he was white. He wasn't like us.
He was white.
He was white.
It was kind of disappointing with blacks on the police department. They couldn't stop nobody but blacks. They couldn't stop whites.
Well, they could stop them, but they couldn't arrest them.
Yeah.
They could stop them, but they couldn't arrest them. So Henry Goss was the first to go on the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Banks. him and Banks and June Clark and one other, Nelson Heights. I can't call his name right at the time, but it was four of them. It was four of them that was pointed there.
Okay.
They had no authority but to arrest blacks, but no white. So
let me
they was parted later in the movement. Because Junior Oderman said, wasn't no NAACP or SCLC or no other organization gonna make him put no black on the sheriff's department until he got ready. But he got ready.
Got ready faster than he thought, huh?
That's right.
What would stand out to you?
Auburn Turner was the first one to go on the sheriff down at the police department.
In the city policeman.
The city policeman.
Well, he's the first. He wasn't the first.
Wasn't the first.
Was, Mr. Lonnie Gleason.
Lonnie Gleason.
Lonnie Gleason.
Was the first.
What was his last name? Mars. Mr. Lonnie Gleason and Mr. Mars.
Wasn't George Mars, but Mars.
No, it's Homer Mars.
Homer Mars.
Right. They was the first.
Some was the first that went on.
Right.
I see you. We just got a couple more minutes, Mr. Johnson. I want Brother Eddie to think of a question he wants to ask you as we get ready to close. I'm going to ask you this, and to give him time to kind of pull something that he might want to make sure it's mentioned today, or he may want to mention as well. But my question to you is, when you look at what's happening in Newton County today, what are some of the concerns you have about where the movement is? Is it further along? Is it stagnant? And what do you see as some of if you had the opportunity to talk to the next generation right now, what advice would you give us as we look at what's going on in Newton County today and in the state of Georgia?
You asked me a hard question.
Oh, didn't mean to do that.
You asked me a hard question there, and I wonder day by day, what could I do, or what could I say to this younger generation that have turned against themselves and committing the crime that we are committing against ourselves and where we come from. I can't comprehend that. And I wish I had an answer.
Okay.
Well, I do want to say that people like you and certain other people that took positions, and they was, how would you put it?
Ahead of their time,
courageous. Didn't have authority as the same authority, but they still took those positions, and that helped move things along over a period of time. A lot of people like you and other families, when the kids got in trouble, y'all pitched in and helped out and everything. So, I think the young generation, they should ought to know that. And I think that's the reason we try to make these recordings, so young people know that we have some strong black people in Newton County. Also, you all mentioned that the gym that was at Washington Street School was built by black men, because the campus impales. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, what we're missing, I don't know what we have gone wrong. I would say, I look at it, I say, I don't know, did the civil rights movement help us or hurt us? I don't know, because when we didn't have the laws on the books to protect us, we wasn't first-class citizens. It was a white man's law. And we understood that, and families got along well, even though we knew that we were discriminated against by the white race.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
one thing we gotta
We were
remember.
not killing one another. We were not playing long range in the street every day.
Okay.
You know, we were not doing that.
Right.
That was discipline in the schools.
Yes,
That was
sir.
discipline at home or your neighbor. If your child went wrong or whatsoever, that older person would discipline before he got home, and then he would be disciplined again when he get home. But the law changed during the civil rights movement. They're taking the law out of school, they're taking prayer out of school, and they're taking the thoughts out of the home. Parents can't discipline the child unless they go to jail. Something is wrong with the system.
Well, I agree with you.
And the courts are saying you got to do a thing.
Yeah, we had a lack of trust. You know, sometimes when you try to move along and try to move ahead, sometimes it hurts you. I think that
it hurts.
If blacks had to continue on like we was going and open our own businesses, just like on Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, that was a big part of Atlanta business.
Right.
And then
Sweet Auburn.
Get it, and all the big corporations, they ate them up and put them out of business. So,
right.
You know.
It was self-owned and self-operated, but now we're working for the other man.
Yeah, but one thing you got to remember now, things are great now. People can kind of own their own business and move along if we support each other and try to get
that's the issue right there. That's the issue right there. We support each other.
That's the issue. We can't trust one another.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. We rather trust the white man than to trust our color.
Well,
and rightfully so in some instances.
Yeah, it's still in us in the black race. I think we talked about this on the program one time before that we still got some of that non-trust that white them put in us and everything. But with the men's today, if we support one another, we can open business up and don't have to worry about the white race. Let them move right along what they want to do. But you know, just like now, they going back. If we get the Republicans in there, it's gonna get bad.
Yeah, we got definitely.
We had a lot of blacks that had businesses all around Georgia, and they closed the town out. Whites went in and destroyed. They didn't get nobody get locked up. Same thing is gonna happen in Washington D.C. During the 6th of January. They went in there and tore the place up. Then they want to call them tourists. You know.
But you know, I look at myself. And not patting on the back, but I have my business right on the corner where when I went to lease that building now, I was met at the door with a white Steve that owned it. So I'm a redneck from Alabama.
Oh.
I introduced myself. I'm a black neck from Newton County, and I want to rent the building.
Yeah.
And I've been there going on 30 years, right on the corner where we marched and protest. And I have as many white customers I do more than I do black.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but my business is good on both races.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Johnson, we appreciate you. Mr. Johnson, we appreciate you taking time with us and talk and give us some of the history and some of the things that you've seen in Newton County. Some things I hadn't heard of myself. And both of us get together again, maybe another time we can bring back some more things that people don't forgot about was concerning Newton County.
We can.
Yeah.
We
So
can. Half has been told.
We will be getting back with you at a later date. We'd love to have you on our program and like to hear things that you have to tell us. So,
okay, if y'all open up your church,
yes, sir. We're open. We are open every Sunday.
Come see y'all one Sunday.
And brother brother Eddie has us running over there. He's actually driving the bus for the Souls to the Poles this
Okay.
Sunday. So
Brother Ed was very active in the movement. Him and his dad and all of those
very active
really
today.
appreciate it.
Very
Yes,
active
sir.
today.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, sir. I want to thank you so much for
having us on. Having us on. Like I said, half hadn't been told. Give us a little time. We can really bring back some stuff.
pull it together.
Yeah.
We have to
And
do it.
we'll give you a warning ahead of time so you can kind of bring those memories back up you want to tell us about.
I think we should bring all of them back at one time to just do an hour and a half and just kind of pull all that history together.
Yeah.
Just have a big
And we
conversation.
can do that. We just sit down and talk. It all come back.
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that in the next few weeks. Just pull it all together. Everybody who's watching, the big picture you see in the background is a picture of our special guest, Mr. Richard Johnson. And of course, you see the famous and legendary Brother Eddie Baker. And yours truly, we're glad to be with you today for this edition of The Struggle is Real. The struggle continues, as Brother Eddie would say.
Yes. And I like to also say, everybody who's listening, and I hope this get to you in time enough, go out and vote. We need you to vote. We need you at the polls.
Absolutely.
Vote. If you got friends, remind them to vote.
Oh, absolutely. Our caravans this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, leaving from St. Paul at 1 o'clock. We're riding through the silos and picking up whoever will want to ride or drive their cars. We'll have a string of cars behind us, and we just want to make it happen. So we want to thank you all, and may God bless you.
May God bless you all.
Good night.
Later. All right.
All right. Good night.
God bless.
Good night. Thank you.
So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory